Okay, we are looking at track number 4, and it's a 16-bar blues in the key of C sharp minor. Okay, so on the rhythm part here, we can get a little bit funky. There's a very definite phrase that runs throughout this track, very strong, and it's this kind of... Now, those of you old enough to remember Boogie Nights, got to keep on dancing. I basically stole it from that line. Boogie Nights, Boogie Nights, Boogie Nights. And it goes for 8 bars, that first part. And you can get a few licks in there, which I'll show you in a minute. Then it moves up to F sharp minor, for 2 bars. Still with the Boogie Nights. Back to the Boogie Nights for 2 bars. And then we go up to G sharp minor. And then it stops, and then back to C sharp minor for 2 bars. Okay, so just using those shapes that we used before for the minor. Now, what I do on the C sharp minor when I play to the backing track is I'll put in a couple of... And what I'm doing there is putting my finger across and hammering from that 9 to 11 on the D, catching that G as well, and then just playing this 11 on the G and B, and going back to 9 on the G and B. Think kind of Jimi Hendrix, Chic, that kind of thing. We put that octave in there. Do you remember like we did on the track before in G? Just playing that C sharp minor. Okay, so let's just play around it a couple of times and you'll get the idea. Then we'll get onto the stuff you really want to know, which is the solo and stuff. So let's do it. Okay, so you noticed I kept to the kind of Boogie Nights theme, but I went off on a few tangents there, and really I did that because I felt like it. Now, as daft as that seems, if you get inspired to go a certain way on a track, providing you're not working for Quincy Jones and then you're not going to get paid, but if you're in your own practice time or you're demonstrating or something and you feel like going in a certain direction, go there. And if you like it, you know, keep it in next time. I also made a couple of mistakes, but the rest of it was good, so I didn't want to ruin it. But that's what it's all about. It's just about going for things. And if you make a mistake, it's practice time. It doesn't matter. It's just your way of experimenting with rhythm patterns. Okay, so there's some rhythm ideas you can use on this track. Let's look at some solos. Okay, we're going to look at some soloing ideas now. Well, when I look at a track, apart from probably a slow blues, which, as I said before, is a kind of a different thing in my opinion, when I look at a sort of a faster track or a track like this, which is a little bit mid-tempo, I start to think rhythmically, what can I use over this? Now, when I say that, what I mean is, if the track is there, say for example, the tempo, 1, 2, 3, okay, what can I use? Well, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, or I could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Or what else could I do? Triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and no. Okay, I made a mistake there, but you get the point. Okay, I can use triplets. What else can I use? Semi-quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dugga, 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 dugga. and then it's just trying to make licks to fit in there. Like there I went, that was the first part, pull off from high E to 9 high E, then bent that B up a whole step and then played that 9 high E, and then pulled off from B on the 12 B to 9 on the B. Okay? And I could hammer that again, and that gives me a semi-quaver pattern. And then I could maybe come down like this, 12, pulling off to 11, pulling off to 9 on the G. I went there, played that 11 on the D, then played 11G to 11D, and then played 9G. Then maybe a gap, and then I could maybe go to the triplet thing. And what I did there was played 11 to 9 on the D, then went down chromatically from 11 to 10 to 9 on the A, then a slight bend on that 7A, and then played 9 on the low E. But the point is I'm kind of thinking to myself, what can I use here in terms of rhythm, okay? So it's good to learn your rhythm. So I can use crotchets, what we call crotchets, or quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, or as I said before, I could use quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Or I could use what's called quaver triplets, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... As we just discussed, or semi-quavers, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Now, I can't, teach you all of this in one DVD. You're going to have to look at some of the others to get it. But I think you're getting the point is that I'm picking specific note groupings and then I'm building licks around them, and I'm thinking about the tempo and which ones work the best and which ones don't. Because obviously, as tempos get faster, semi-quavers is going to be more difficult, or they're not going to sound bluesy or whatever. Okay, so that's one thing that we can use here. Obviously, plenty of emotive playing. Mainly C-sharp minor pentatonic throughout I would probably use, or blues scale. Now, also in a track like this, I would do bursts of notes, okay? Now, I'll give you an example of a run that I would do. Now, what I'm doing there is I'm hammering from 9 to 11 on the A, and then I'm doing a hammer on and pull off from 9 to 11 on the D. And then going back to that 11 on the previous string, and then I carry that idea up. Now, as I'll demonstrate in a minute, with a thing like this, sometimes I'll play it in time, but sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just play it as fast as I can and just hope that I can hit that bend somewhere, okay? It doesn't always have to be bang in time, as long as you're, because sometimes the spirit of just going for it, even though it doesn't really relate to any time, will, get across the message, as it were. Another one that I'll use in this type of thing is those repeated ideas like this, which is just doing a hammer on and pull off from 9 to 12 on the B string, and then catching that flat 5 on the G, 12th fret G string. Another one I do quite a lot, which I stole from Gary Moore, which is to kind of pull off down from 12 to 11 to 9, and then hammer back up, and then play the note above it. Do it nice and slowly for you. You're just pulling off down, hammering up. Okay, and then another one I'll do, a little bit of Paul Gilbert kind of style, just doing this. So we're just hammering up from 9 to 11 to 12, back down. And the thing about this one is you don't even have to pick that B there. You can just slam it on. I just did a mixture of two there. going down. And those sort of things, I don't even worry about them being in time. I'll just be shredding away. Just try and fit in as many notes as I can. So let's try and use those concepts to make something sensible over this backing track. Okay, so just recapping on everything, don't forget short bursts of notes, got a few little great licks that you can learn there and just practice over them, make great little exercises as well. And always look at the rhythms that suit the backing track that you're playing to and then try and build licks and runs and what have you around those.